Welcome to Business Beat, a show collaboration of KBIA and Missouri Business Alert. We cover what's happening in business and economics in mid-Missouri and beyond. I'm Sule. Graduation season is upon us, which means that college graduates will have to confront the realities of real adulthood. Aside from getting jobs, there's another huge responsibility that's facing millions of grads: student loan debt. Tabor and Bita Eghbali of the Three Broke Mice podcast chat with Teddy Nykiel of nerdwallet.com about how young adults can overcome the debt hurdle.
Graduating from college seems to be stressful enough as a life step, but having tens of thousands of dollars of debt on top of that has to make things worse. What are some of the problems that millennials with debt are facing that maybe they didn't anticipate before stepping off of a campus?
So believe it or not, one of the main problems is that students or recent grads aren't aware of the debt that they even have, because a lot of times they took out this debt freshman year of college. They were so wrapped up in choosing their college, filling out their FAFSA, and they didn't really realize what they were signing up for in terms of their debt. It's actually really common for people to be surprised about what type of debt they have and how much they have. There's a few things that everyone should make sure they know. The first is whether you have federal student loans or private student loans. Most grads have federal student loans, which is the loans you get when you fill out the FAFSA, but those are actually managed by private companies, so that adds kind of another layer of confusion. So the second thing you should know is if you have federal student loans, who is your loan servicer? And that's the company that is managing that federal debt. And then finally, a lot of people have multiple loans in general, just because they take out a few every year. And so really just understanding all the different interest rates so that they can understand all the debt they're dealing with and kind of prioritize based on how much debt they have, their different interest rates, and things like that.
Other than interest rate confusion, what are some of the other parts of student debt that students are that they're getting wrong?
Yeah, so a lot of borrowers don't realize that they actually have a lot of different options when it comes to repaying their student loans. For federal student loans, everyone is automatically set on a standard repayment plan. So that means that all your debt will be broken up evenly and you'll pay it back over 10 years. There's something called income-driven repayment plans, which is an option for federal student loans where you can make a payment based on your income. So for example, only 10% of your income will be going to your student loan payment. And so it depends on the specific income-driven repayment plan. But that, for example, is one way to manage, especially if you have a lot of student loan debt, that can be a way to make sure that you're not paying an exorbitant amount each month. So it's kind of a lot of moving parts, and that's why a lot of people find it really confusing. But really, once you kind of just take a little time to read about it, you'll kind of understand it. You can figure out which repayment plan is best for you.
What about some smaller choices that grads can make to ensure that debt doesn't stunt their career and stunt their finances in the long run or in the near future?
Something I've heard a lot is, live like a college student for a few years after you graduate, even though you'll be making an income. So presumably in college, you're making no income or just a small income from your part-time job. And so you've really gotten used to not spending a lot on clothes, not spending a lot on food. You're eating a lot of ramen. And so if you can just live like that for a few more years while you're presumably making a salary, even if it's a small salary, that'll help you save a lot of money. Just having that mindset of kind of living frugally for the first few years of your job, because it can be really tempting, once you get a paycheck, once you graduate, to spend that money. But trying to live as you have been in college is a great way to save some extra money.
Thanks for tuning into this week's show. To learn more about Business Beat and the Three Broke Mice podcast, visit kbia.org and MissouriBusinessAlert.com.